Okay, people, so now it's July 10th, 2019. Look at my windows fixed. Hey, this window was shot out by Julian's BB gun. Or some kind of gun. Somebody shot it from in there into my back window and shattered it. Anyway, it just got replaced. It's not finished yet. And this baby has been parked since January 9th of 2016. 1 year after Uncle John went missing, because I got the car on the road on January 9th to take Uncle John and myself to the doctor because we came down with a flu. And Uncle John, it was a bad flu. I slept for a week, people, and I don't get sick. Okay? And when he got it, he was the last person in the house to get it. I was so worried, and I said, John, gee, you know, maybe we need to put the car on the road and I'll take you to the doctor. Long story short, instead of taking him to the doctor, John and I agreed that maybe it was better to go in a non-emergency ambulance to the hospital because, you know, he got a little delirium because he had a pneumonia in his lungs, and because of his age, that's what happens to old people. And so I didn't know, and look what happened. He got medically kidnapped. Right, in February of 2015, and I drove the car for the whole year. These are brand new tires. This car has been sitting here, people, for how many years Uncle John's been gone? 15, 16, 17, 18, halfway into 19. I drove it for the year, so that's 3.5 years. This car has not moved. And the person who originally was going to help me with it, he's back in town. He actually left for a little while. And so anyway, he's on it. He already did the window for me. He cleaned out the seat. He wants to get another window. He's saying this is a classic car. You know, it's a collector's item. And I'm like, yeah, well, if I can get a year out of it, I'll be happy because I have no money and I'm going to doctors and all this other stuff. So he took out the battery, people, and we may get this thing rumbling today. Right? Rumbling. All the wiring, everything in it is good because what had happened is I parked the car. It sat, that's what Uncle John and I used to do, right? I parked the car every now and then over the years to get caught up with bills, right? Because a car takes money and sometimes it's worse than a kid. Because you have to repair. This car, though, has been good for me. Uncle John bought me that car. He went all the way out to Edmonton and brought me back from Edmonton back in 1990. Right? Because I took my oldest son out to go see his dad in Edmonton, Alberta. And it was so cold out there, and basically I was kind of just sitting off in the East End by myself in some townhouse, freezing my ass off, 40 below with, what do you call that, 2 long johns on and earmuffs. And, you know, and Uncle John says, hey, you know, I'm not doing very well. You need to come back to Victoria. And so anyway, he came and he got me. But before he got me, he bought me that car. So I've had that car since like 1990, people. And it's what, 2019? That's like 29 years. So before every now and then I'd park it, and we'd pay bills and, you know, whatever, put the car on the road. So I had worked on the car. In terms of, I put in $2,000 into it. I got my mechanic, who I've had for years and years and years and years. He did all the wiring, you know, in the motor. He lifted up and went underneath the brake lines and made sure all the brake lines, as they ran through the car, all the way, was all done. Did my brakes. And I had new tires, too, put on, right? Spent over $2,000, so we parked it, and it sat parked to pay for that. And then all of a sudden, you know, 6 months, 8 months later, or however long the car was parked for, and, you know, we got the flu in the house, and then, you know, I was going to take him to the doctor, people. That's why I insured it July 9th. I walked off to the insurance company sicker than a fucking dog after sleeping on the couch for a week because of this flu. This is when both my girls were working at McDonald's and were serving over 1,000 homeless people a day. Okay? They'd serve 2,000 people, and half of those people were homeless. right? Tisha and ShaMay did that at McDonald's full time. So anyway, a flu came through in the month of December, and a lot of homeless people started dying from it, people. That's how bad it was. And, you know, I come into contact with a lot of crud because I'm the mule in the house. I have to get down and dirty, right? When things need to be clean. So my immune system is pretty strong, and I normally don't get sick. I don't even get colds very much. I have a chronic cough from, you know, working with molds and dust and bleaches and aerosols and you know and what histamines in the yard, and plus I'm a smoker. So there's a combination of those types of things. But outside of that, I have the ringing in my ears, the pressure in my eyes, over 50 psi. I'm untreated. I don't use drops. If I use drops, my nose starts to run, right? And it doesn't seem to, like the pressure gets worse. When I'm seeing the eye specialist and they're pushing on my eyes with their machines, when I'm seeing them every 3 to 6 months, my eyes every day, all day, feel like somebody's got their thumbs in them, pushing. So, you know, I just don't go. I haven't been to an eye specialist for over 2 years. If I was to go to one right now, the first thing they would say to me is, oh, you need to go to an emergency. Your eyes are going to explode because your PSI is over 50. How can you manage? Every now and then, because of my eyes, you can tell I'm going blind, because if you think of Ray Charles, right? And, like, you know, blind Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder, if you notice, they did a lot of rocking. If you notice, what do? I tend to do a lot of rocking, because what happens is when you start to lose your eyesight, you have to think harder in order to be able to focus on whatever it is that you're trying to focus on. And because you're thinking harder, you're not thinking as fluent, as fast as you could be if you had good eyesight. So I think the rocking, what happens, you know, is it just helps you to stay focused in terms of, like, how your eyes process information, and then how you interpret it outwards, right? Anyway, so you know, get back to the sickness. So, you know, I walked off and I got the car insurance for Uncle John, because we sat here and we talked about it. Because I got sick, people. I got so sick. I don't normally get sick. It came from the Surrey flu that was in the neighborhood that was actually killing homeless people. If I take you out into the streets and did some interviews with the homeless people that were out and about that time, they will tell you that many of them lost friends that year in 2000. And, well, it would have been 14, because December, right? December it started. My girls were working. I ended up getting it. I slept on the couch for basically a week, and then Uncle John was basically looking after Andre as my girls were going in and out. Uncle Marcane was going in and out. But it was Uncle John who was holding down the fort, right, as I basically slept. And then when you wake up from being sick, you know, you're still sick, right? You know, you're still drowsy, you're still weak, very weak, right? And so, you know, I said, gee, John, you know, how you feeling, right? Well, I'm okay, you know, don't worry about me, Judy, you know, I'm okay. But, you know, and I'm like, okay, but I think we should get the car on the road because, you know, right? Because soon after I recuperated, he started showing symptoms within a couple of days. And just as he was coming down with the symptoms, I said, I'm going to go get the car insurance, and I'm going to take you to the doctor, right? Because I don't want you sleeping on me for a week and dying. But before that happened, I got the car on the road, or he hadn't gotten sick, or he was just, it was all in that one little time frame, because by the time he went into the hospital, it was the 12th, so the next day, okay, and then I was probably going to take him to the doctor, and then the day after, like it would have been the 11th, he got loopy. So I went and got the car on the road on the 9th. He hadn't gotten sick yet. It had gone through the house. Everybody got it. I was the one that got it the worst, though. And And then by the 12th, like he was like getting, like he was starting to show signs a little bit of loopiness. And what I mean by loopy is like, you know, just, like I went into his bedroom and he was on the bed on his stomach like this. Here's the bed. His body was this way, on like this, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, John, what are you doing? And he's just like, and then got him up and like, you know, okay, but my kids, they gave him a shower, you know, we gave him soups and you know, his ginger ale and coffee just as it was coming down, because he only had it for like 2 days, and by the second day I said, John, come on, you know, I don't know if taking you to the doctor is the right thing. You're a little loopy now, like there's something wrong here, right? You need to go like maybe to the hospital under a non-emergency situation, so that, you know, if you end up sleeping for a week like I did, he wouldn't have died on me, people. I didn't want him to die, so I sent him to the hospital, but they medically kidnapped him for his money and his inheritance. Go into my videos and you'll hear the story. We're still waiting for the cops to investigate it. Remember, the judge said send it to the cops? So anyway, I drove the car for the year, and because I had put $2,000 into it prior to parking it for 6, 7, 8 months or whatever it was, and then when I put it on the road, I don't know if I had my mechanic, what do you call it? Tune it up? Probably. Right? And then I just drove it for a year. Just drove it for a year. No problems. None. And then when the insurance ran out, because I was going bankrupt in the house, because I got left with all the bills, and depressed kids, everybody crashing, right? Everybody feeling like dying and not being motivated to do anything in life because of Uncle John's disappearance, right? I just parked it because I didn't want to continue driving it and then have something like the alternator or something die on me in the middle of the road, and I have no money to cover the cost of towing it to, you know, and getting it repaired to be able to get it home. Never mind, I was already paying car insurance with money that I didn't have. So when insurance ran out, I just parked it. So basically, it's been sitting there for 3.5 years and it hasn't moved. What was that? The Redneck Mafia? That dude, I can't remember his name, but anyway, he did almost get it jump-started, because I have a video with something sparking and flying off, right? And, but then he just kind of went on his merry way, and I don't know what happened to him. He never did come back and finish the job. But anyway, Ryan, who first started out, is back in town. So he's did the window today, right? And he's gonna try and jumpstart it. So that's the story around Betsy right now in terms of the more recent, like in the last few years, right? And so if we get Betsy up on the road, boy, oh boy, for local driving, that works for me, people. Like that car, I'm telling you, that car has gotten the family, Uncle John and myself and the kids, through thick and thin. It has carried over 100 tons worth of weight in terms of dirt and wood and, you know, household things, and when you're moving, and you know, I used to transport kids back and forth to the parks and to things like that, and it's housed homeless people in the middle of winter when it's cold out there and they need a place to sleep. They've slept in there. That thing has housed cats and raccoons, and that car is just, it's an amazing car. I'm telling you, it is an amazing car. That was the best thing that Uncle John ever did for this family, was get old Betsy and then come out there on a bus all the way out to Alberta as a blind man and pick me up with my 2 kids. I only had 2 at the time. That was Brooks and Sierra. And then brought me back to Alberta, or to Victoria. Brought me back to Victoria. Right? And then I made the mistake of coming over here thinking I could start a nonprofit and be successful with my life. At first I wanted to start a company, but starting a company in Vancouver is almost nil to none unless you have $100,000 in the bank. So I settled to found a nonprofit instead so I could still take that nervous energy I had as a youth and put it towards something, resourceful and success, in terms of, productive. But little did I know, I lived in a cutthroat society. Okay, so as I'm waiting for the car here now, I'm having like panic attacks, right? And in part, people, what I'm doing here, this is, you remember that, the watermelon. Amari really likes it, so does ShaMay. This is raspberry juice that I made, right? The raspberries that grow from my yard. You can see the color of it. This one here is watermelon with when I pasteurized the carrot. Because again, you can see the color, right? You can see the color in it. If this was straight up watermelon, you wouldn't see no color. You would see a little bit of watermelon in there and the rest of it clear, pretty much, right? Because the watermelon, the water separates. But with the carrot, you can actually see. But I pasteurized the carrot juice, right? So anyway, again, those work really well, like really well. I like doing it that way. And then when I do these little things here, I like this too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 hamburger patties that I made, those, and I'm going to chop up this squash. These are yams. They've been sitting around for a while. Next time I want to cook with yams, I am going to try and make sure that I buy them organic. And I cook them up pretty much ASAP. It's hard to find organic yams, especially when you find yams on sale and it's just like... Anyway, when I did that chicken, when I canned that chicken, right, I had the yams, remember? Right? So I bought them cheap then, and they weren't what do you call it? Organic. But what I'm trying to say is, these things have been sitting around for a while, and they haven't spoiled. The only thing that they've tried to do is sort of sprout. You can see that. Anyway, I'll cook those up with the squash, with that, make it really nice and juicy. That's basically going to be Amari's dinner tonight, right? And then, of course, because these things work, people, I'm going to put portions of whatever into each jar, and I'm going to freeze them. Now, what's been happening, because like I said, we have court coming up. I've mentioned this on a different video that I did with somebody else. I thought it was in July of this month, but it turns out it's in August. So, it's like a bad relationship, right? Where, people have make-up sex and everything gets nice and quiet and calm for a while, and you can actually just kind of like calm down for a while. And then, the bickering starts again, and over a period of time, the bickering just gets worse and worse, and until the big explosion, right? And then after the big explosion, assuming that everybody survives, then you get the makeup sex, and then you start the cycle all over again. Well, we're at that, bickering point where Tisha is being approached by the father of Amari's sister, who is suggesting that we're somehow not feeding him because he's so thin. And of course now Tisha is saying, well, you need to look up online, first of all, to see what it is that is acceptable to feed him so he doesn't get constipated, right? And second of all, he does have cerebral palsy, and children who don't move, they have issues with their muscle growth and that type of thing. So basically what I'm trying to say, people, is the stalking and that kind of shit starting up again, right? Because we're getting closer to court, right? So, assuming that for this person to be texting my daughter at 4 o'clock in the morning, going on about how she's got money and will pay for food because, Amari's so skinny and she loves him so much, you know, being that she likes to stalk my YouTube channel and whatever, I would highly recommend that she go into her own house and her own backyard and maybe clean up that act first before she tries to go for that climax. Okay, so anyway, as I'm putting this together, Andre is saying to me, ooh. Anyway, I don't know what that was. Somebody's online there. So, okay, Andre asked me, he says, Nana, well, you know, that's not all for Amari, right? I get some too, right? We're going to eat some too. I said, of course. So I only want to fill up a little jars, right, for a little while. You know, I don't need 24 jars, full case at this point, right? So what I did is I found this in my fridge. I bought this just a little while ago. And it's a Chinese-style sausage, so I've cut some there. I don't know what it tastes like, so I'm just going to put that there, like this. I don't want it to be overwhelming. What we're trying to do is we're trying to, see, if I had more hamburger, I probably wouldn't use this, but anyway, I don't. All I have is that right now. I mean, I do have, but I don't want to dig, right? So, since those are handy, and they're probably quite flavorful, they're going to add extra juice and fat. It's the fat that I want in the juice, right? That's what I want. Because that's, if you get it in the juice, and you get it incorporated into the actual vegetables themselves, like in there is real butter. So after it all gets mixed up, you know, cooking, and then the juices all kind of come together, that's what we want for Amari's intestines, right? And then because peas are good, I'm just going to scatter some peas around. These ones were frozen. Because what the peas do is they add sweetness, for one thing, and they add flavor. More than anything, they add flavor, right? That's what I'm putting it there for, in this instance. Although peas for digestion is very good. So you can see what I've done. And now I'm going to just cover it. I'm going to keep an eye on the liquid. I might even add a bit more liquid because that's what I want. I want the fats to incorporate directly into the liquid. And I don't know where that dude went, but he's working on my car. So if the car don't start today, that's okay, right? We know that somebody's working on it. And then I will just finish with this video after it's all cooked, and then I put it into little jars, and you can see. And for those working moms, you know, that are busy and whatnot, if you can do this once, twice a month, you know, break it up twice a month where you do this for your children, you'll find that over time it is so helpful. So helpful. And not only that, but you start to control the nutrients in terms of, like, here we've got raspberry. This is like raspberry from fresh organic raspberries from my yard. This is watermelon with pasteurized carrot, right? You know, and this is actual watermelon that's been pureed, right? So hold on a minute.
See, she's
Look at this. Look at this. She's back. She's back. Are you back? Won't be long before you're back with your 3 babies. Huh? You go get her some food. She says, can I have some food, please? Please, I am so hungry. I need someone to just love me for a little while. It's not my fault I was born a raccoon in a country that is pushing me out of my own country, even though I'm a national anthem. Go get her some food.
Okay. Excuse me.
Hold on. We'll just see how brave she gets. Just standing here. Andre's gone to go get some food.
Just putting my shoes on.
Just wait. I want to see how brave she gets. Are you going to come up right up? Yeah, she's about, I don't know, 3.5 feet away from me. I mean, how can you not feed them? If you have cat food or dog food. But I'm going to have to buy a bag of dog food now that I know you're around. All right, they love dog food. They love cat food. No. Take it down there. Take it down there.
How?
Here, I'll do it. You can videotape me.
It's okay, I'll do it.
You don't have enough, though. You have to give her more than that.
Okay.
That's not enough for her.
Will this work? For more?
Yeah. She's almost right by my window. She's almost by my feet here. You think you're a cat? A wild one, eh? Are you a wild cat? Huh? I know, those cats got you scared. Oh, people, when the males fight,
Skya.
it is so scary the way they screech.
Excuse me, I got it.
You got it? Okay. Her bowl is underneath the table, underneath the chair over there.
Where's her? That one?
Yep. Just go feed her. No. Go feed her under the... Just put the food in the bowl.
Skya. Yeah.
Just leave a little bit on the steps for the cats. Look at this. Everybody wants their food. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Give her more. The raccoon, Matilda. That's her name. Say, here, Matilda. Here, Matilda. Okay, you come up. She'll go. She's wild, right? So, but look how hungry she is. She's going to go straight for it. They're blind.
Skya.
Go by where yours is. She doesn't know where it is. She smells it. There you go. Oh, well. Well, that's okay. Sky is eating from the bowl. As long as everybody's eating, Elsie's a little overweight anyway. She's like 15 years old, so she can wait her turn. So, but do you see that? They're kind of blind, eh? They go by hand. So how this thing, or by smell, how this thing went from here, came into my house, went down here, went all the way down here, people. She showed up yesterday. Went all the way down here. There's Mickey already raiding the cat food. See, there's the cat food right there. And there's Mickey. And then when I got up, I don't know, this thing heard me come. And then it just came down running through here. And by the time I turned around into the kitchen, I seen it right here and it just beelined out, right? So anyway, I'm still cooking here. Hold on. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this video. Anyway, this is Amari's meal. Probably a little bit too much, but he'll eat it because he likes to eat. So anyway, this is some rice with coconut milk in it. Right? The thicker one, right? With more coconut. And then the hamburger, there's the peas, there is the what is it called? The yam. There's the squash. And this is the fermented carrot, people. It's actually very good. I give it to him regularly. And I eat it too. I'm trying to get Andre to eat it. It's delicious. Anyway, that's a bit of garlic there. You can see that. Right? And then, because what we want is the juices. This is what we want. We put that all in there like that. I'm going to add a bit more in there. And then that's going to be his dinner, right? And he still has his raspberry juice. Do you see how rich that color is coming? Look at that. It's pretty nice, people. All the raspberry is at the bottom sinking. I haven't shaken it yet, right? It's still unthawing. So I'm ending this video. So what I'm going to do now... I mean, half of that would fit in one of these jars, right? So anyway, I'll just make what I have here. I'm going to just do in the jars because, again, when they're frozen, all you do is just come along, put it in a little frying pan, heat it up, add a bit of water, and then whatever else you're going to add with it, you can do that as well because, you know, sometimes it's not enough, right? But anyway... Okay, so before I upload, I thought we'd let the taste tester taste it. What you think? He hasn't even started yet. I tasted it, and the peas did the job. They made it really, really tasty. Might be still a little hot. I don't think so now. I think it's okay. Oh. That's good, eh? What are you doing? My youngest daughter, as I was saying in my previously, is starting to be harassed here, right? Because Amari has cerebral palsy, and it is common for children to grow. Do you have to go poo? You're giving me your poo face. What are you doing? Or is it just that good? Calm down. Here we go. Anyway, because Amari can't walk or anything like that, people, you know, at best he can roll around a little bit and he shimmies a bit, but for the most part, he really doesn't move. His muscles aren't getting exercised, right? And, so anyway, it's not uncommon for children like Amari to grow long, but be skinny. He looks like he's giving me his poo face. Is that you gotta go to the bathroom, or what do you want? Is it that good? I'm not sure what he wants. He might have to go to the bathroom. I've been putting him on the toilet, on his little toity. It takes about a half an hour or so, right, depending. At first he'll fuss. He doesn't really like it. But then, you know, you distract him and make noise and putting things in front of him. He'll calm down. And then, because I put his legs up and I put him like in a squatting position, I know that's hamburger, while sitting on the toilet. The last couple of times he's gone to the bathroom, he's actually done it on the toilet. So I'm very proud of him. Doing a really good job there. So today at some point I'm going to stick him on the toilet. Doesn't mean he's going to go, but when he starts going like this, that's his body. That's his body telling him he needs to go to the bathroom. So, because it's so painful for him, I think sometimes he tries to stop it. But I've been using the toilet more consistently with him, and it seems to be working. It's just the law of gravity. So anyway, I'm annoyed that my daughter is being harassed with insinuendos that, you know, we're somehow poor paupers here that have no money for food, and that, you know, basically we're not feeding Amari anything. All it is, people, is the person that's doing that is trying to build a case so they can take it to social services and then have them come in and investigate me so they can try and take Amari away from me. I told you that's what it is. It's not because they want to be helpful. You know, they hide behind that to say that they want to be helpful. But if they really want to be helpful, you know, maybe they need to acknowledge as to what happened to ShaMay and stop trying to brush it under the rug, right? Kind of like what happened to Howie, right? That 20-year-old that died just recently. You know, that wasn't just a coincidence, people. There's a cause around that. And, you know, so anyway, I just wanted to show you that he likes this. And now that I've made extra, right, I'm going to put into jars. I've got like 10, 12 jars there. So anyway, I'll fill them up. Because Alea May eats too, right? So when Alea May is around, you know, she gets the benefit of this stuff as well. It's good, isn't it? I know. It's really good. It's delicious. I'm feeding him first before I feed myself. The fermented carrot is really, really, really good. He likes it. He likes fermented food. He likes fermented cucumber. He doesn't mind the mitso, providing you don't use too much. He likes the carrot, you can see, right? And I like it too. It's actually quite delicious. So, and how I give him his food is just like the way we eat. You know, we like to eat a few spoons of rice, and then we'll take a bite of meat, and, you know, maybe another bite of meat, and then we'll go eat some peas, and then we'll go back to the rice, and then we'll mix the peas in with some meat, and, you know, I do that for him, right? I don't turn it into a mud dish, right? I don't just mix it all up together. I was talking, he's going to be going to the children's hospital soon because his hips are coming out. They're popping out of the socket, which is common for children with cerebral palsy, just like it's common for them to look like they're underweight, right, in terms of they're not, they don't have that body mass as if you were running around exercising and just being a kid all day long, right? So, again, it kind of boils down to nutritional food, with it being more and more organic, like, sitting there watching that yam, not really doing anything. If I'm going to freeze, and I know I'm going to work on something to freeze something, I think the next time I do that, I'm going to plan on buying, I'm going to have to find it first, organic yam, and I'm going to cook with organic yam. But don't forget, my garden is growing, so it won't be long before I'll be able to bring in the beets and cook that. That's all organic. There will be lots and lots of squashes, which I am going to be cooking with meats and making what I'm doing now. So that will be all organic squashes that won't be sprayed with anything. And then if I want something like a yam or something like that that I don't grow, I am going to try and go out of my way to buy organic for those cooking sessions, right? And again, as a working mother, or just, it doesn't even have to be a working mother, could be just anybody that's looking after a child, whether you're working or whether you're home, doing it this way, the way I've been doing it lately for Amari in terms of pre-making it, whether I'm freezing it or canning it, it does come helpful. It's very helpful. It works. Look at this. He's almost half done now. Right? And don't forget, it has a lot of that broth in there. Right? White rice is okay. It's easy to digest in terms of, it's not a constipating food. Brown rice obviously is more nutritional, but you'd want to mix it in with something that would be easy to digest around it. So maybe brown rice with, what do you call it, mixed in with the fermented carrot. That would work. All right. So, anyway, Ryan started working on the car today, as you can see from the beginning of this video. Right? The window is almost in now, so that's good. I'm happy with that. And, of course, I never got a sorry or, can I help you fix your window? It was, my window got shot out, and it was, fuck you, bitch. And it's been sitting like that, broken, for ever, since 2016, really. And Ryan came down today and he got out the old window and got the new one in, which I bought from I paid $173 for that window from an auto wrecker, right? And then what do you call it, he's took out the battery. So it's kind of raining right now, so I don't suspect he'll be back. But he's on it, and he wants to get this car running for me. So maybe it won't be long before I'll be driving old Betsy again for a while. That would be great, people. It's really hard being my age, inheriting children, being stalked by more than one person, right? And having my children badgered for common sense things, which we've already mentioned, right? Like I said, the court system has kind of put us in a position of being a sitting duck because the cops aren't doing their job. And the one that's stalking my YouTube channel and Facebook and my daughter basically is in complete denial of what she looks at when she's looking in the mirror. So anyway, he ate it all. I get a little worried when he eats a lot like that because, you know, he needs time for his stomach to digest the food. But I like to fill him up, right? I mean, not every portion is that much. So this is that real homemade from the garden raspberry juice, right? He likes it. Hey, it's good. It's a new juice, right? It's a new juice for him. So, right? You need a lot of raspberries to make raspberry juice. And you actually need to put a little bit of sweetener in with it because raspberries as a juice by themselves, unlike an apple or something, right? They need more of a sweetener. In this case, I just use sugar, right? Although I should probably start introducing honey or maple syrup. Maple syrup is very high in calcium, right along with what is that called? Molasses, right? So I should start using more maple syrup as a sweetener for him because then he will really get that calcium, right? So maple syrup is so expensive, but I'll put a do not touch on the bottle. Amari sweetener, right? Okay, so I'm going to end this video here. So anyway, like I said, it doesn't look like Ryan's coming back. I wasn't planning on doing a video today, but Ryan was out there with the car, and considering it's been sitting out there for 3.5 years, people, I thought that was kind of like a highlight, right? But, you know, I'm really disturbed that this, you know, this bickering is starting to bubble up again, right? Because we're getting closer to court. And, you know, they got to prove me unfit, and you right, and they're trying to use Amari's cerebral palsy as an excuse to, you know, build a case and get the tension going and starting to rise so that sooner or later there's going to be a big explosion, right? And of some kind, I don't know, I'm waiting for it. It's just a matter of before, you know, something happens. Right, because this person knows I've been putting the shit out there in regards to what happened to ShaMay. And the only thing I can say about that is, if they didn't want what happened to ShaMay happen, then maybe they shouldn't import themselves into other people's lives and then think that they have a right to tell those people how to live their lives after they freaking caused a whole bunch of shit and a whole bunch of damage and then basically just up and fucking disappeared, except for with their demands in regards to, give me the baby.